I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk of the Board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Carter. Freeholder Estrada.
Present.
Freeholder Hudak.
Here.
Freeholder Jallo.
Here.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Here.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Present.
Freeholder Wright.
Present.
Vice Chairman Granados.
Present.
And Chairman Bergen.
Present.
Chairman, you have 8 freeholders present.
Thank you. Clerk of the Board, please lead us in prayer and salute to the flag.
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and the lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will, to grant the light of his spirit on all who work for justice and peace.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk of the Board, please read the statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
The Chair wishes to announce that pursuant to the requirements of New Jersey statutes annotated, Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 10 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union has been given by mailing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2016, along with periodic changes necessitated by circumstances to the newspapers circulating within the County of Union who are designated to receive such notice, and by posting the annual meeting schedule for the year 2016 in the Administration Building, and further by filing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2016 with the Office of the County Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Starting off tonight, we have a presentation which is going to be made by a number of recipients of Community Development Block Grants. This is a very important program that the county has for funding some of our most important projects around the county, and I would call on Amy Wagner, who will organize this. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Freeholders, for giving us an opportunity to highlight for you some of the exciting things that happen in CD and Home Investment Partnership programs. To give you a little bit of background, the CD program began in 1974, and 30 years ago, the National Community Development Association, who Al Fiella was a president of that organization, started a program to have a CD celebration for the whole week. So this week actually is Community Development Week. So what we've done tonight is we've invited a few folks that receive funding through the CD program or Home Investment Partnership to come in and give you a very brief explanation of what their programs entail. But before they step forward, I'd just like to briefly introduce the staff, because they're really the reason that everything gets done as efficiently and effectively as it does. So I'll first ask, I'd ask all of you, as much as I know they don't want to, but if you guys could just stand so everybody knows who you are when I call your name. Tom Connell is our Bureau Chief for Community Development. Julian Betrago handles all of our environmental reviews for both CD and home. Pete Casano handles the facilities and home improvement projects. Georgette Corvelli runs our housing subcommittee. Teresa Ebba is not here. She's administrative support for our team. Brandon Givens does social services programs for us. Jim Heim runs our home investment partnership program. We have a new member of our team, Armando Medina, who was not able to be here. Oh, yay! Okay, I didn't see you before. Armando's new to our department. He is working with Tom Plant, also on the home inspections. Tom is going to be retiring in September, so Armando is training with him now, so that he'll be ready to step right in and help out there. We have Grace Minnis, who takes care of all our finances and the administration of the grants. Anyone that gets anything out of CD knows Grace well. Rosa Santos does administrative support for us. And we also have another new member of our team, and that's Felice Twaddle, who splits her time between the CD program and the Home Investment Partnership. So without any further ado, awesome people. Grateful to be on a team with folks like them. So I'll just give you a brief introduction of each of our people that are going to be speaking to you. We have 6 people representing 6 different types of programs, and they're going to briefly just tell you a little bit about what they do. So first up will be Randall Wood. He is the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of Plainfield. The Housing Authority of Plainfield received $120,000 in CD funding for the demolition of the Elmwood Gardens project. So I'll pass it off to you.
Good evening, freeholders. First of all, Randall Wood's my name, Plainfield Housing Authority, Executive Director, the CEO of the Premier Development Corporation, which is the former Plainfield Community Development Corporation. I want to take this time to thank each and every one of you for what you did, for awarding us $120,000 for the demolition of Elmwood Gardens. As you know, and if you don't know, Elmwood Gardens is a former 120-unit public housing site that held over 644 residents for the city of Plainfield. It was built in 1964. A viability and marketability study in 2011, it didn't pass. It was very hard to maintain because of the fact that the structures back in 1964 are a lot different from the structures now. Of course, HUD, as well as the Housing Authority and our commissioners, we felt as though, we want to do something new. We want to be able to take her down, and we believe every family deserves a front and back door and not a hallway. Hallways were just too difficult to maintain. There was a lot of criminal activity in that particular housing project. We did all we could to become proactive. We worked well with the city. We worked well with the SALT initiative from the county. And, you just couldn't stop it. It was very difficult. Well, we lost a lot of money. As we did our viability study, marketability study, and did our performance with HUD, we were finding out each year we were losing $236,000. So the right thing to do, and we spoke with the city and the residents, was to take her down. Now you may have a question, well, what happened to the residents? Well, we made sure we meticulously moved each and every family through a Section 8 voucher program throughout the county and throughout the nation. And we didn't get one complaint. Of course, that was after, there were those that were evicted due to noncompliance of the lease that we had to enforce that didn't get a voucher. But I can tell you, out of 120 families, we were able to move 100 meticulously. So I was very grateful for that. But again, we're at the stage now where we're looking to do a tax credit deal, and we're working with the developer CIS at this particular time. We haven't engaged or signed the final master development agreement as of yet because we're still at the point of negotiation. We realize that it takes a little time. She might sit about 18 months before we can actually start the building. But at this point in time, we've got all the bricks and mortars down. We're at the pulverization stage where we're putting we separated, and we're putting landfill in and to fill the holes of the basement. We're going to make it look like a park. We're going to make it look like a beautiful park probably within the next 6 months. And until we're able to get the finance, we will definitely make sure it looks good. And again, the city is pleased, but of course we're real anxious to build something new. But your $120,000 went a long way to help this project. To do this total demolition was $1.2 million. So this has helped us immensely. And I just want to take the time to thank freeholders for the award. I want to thank Mr. Tom Connell and Mr. Katrina Casano, who helped me every step of the way. And we're here if there's any questions. I promise I wouldn't take up too much time because I know there's others that have to speak, so I want to be respectful. But if there's any questions you would like me to answer while I'm here, I'll be glad to do so. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Dennis McNanny, the Senior Vice President and CFO of the Gateway Family YMCA. They received $45,000 in CD funding for their roof replacement project. Dennis?
Good evening to all of you. I'm going to be very short, very short, but I want to do want to thank you on behalf of our Board of Directors of the Gateway Family YMCA, Crystal Kennedy, our CEO, and all of our staff, and especially for all the people we serve for assisting us. I have to say, as Amy stated, we received $45,000. We have some pictures over here, kind of working backwards. It shows the repair of the roof that's going on as we speak almost. And in the past, we also want to thank you for assisting us for windows, which we show over here on our Broadway branch location. And the big hole in the ground there is when you helped us a number of years ago with assisting us in putting in an elevator. So the county's been very good to us. We're very appreciative. I have to say that Tom, Pete, and Grace have made it so easy in working this through. So we are appreciative, and also have to put a plug in for our housing side because we have a big housing component, as you know, and we do want to thank you for the assistance that you also provide in that area as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Next, we have Jolene Donovan, the Executive Director of Family Promise of Union County. They received $9,000 of CDBG funds for Transportation for Homeless Families program.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me here today to thank you for supporting our transportation program at Family Promise. As some of you may know, we are a national organization which is based in Summit, but I run the Union County program, which is a shelter program, and we serve homeless families throughout Union County. 65% of our clients are children. I have another poster at the end there which shows 4 children who are off to school in the van with the van driver, which is what the CDBG funds supports. I just wanted to show you that this poster here has to do with our national program when it speaks to how many volunteers nationally. But in Union County, we engage 37 congregations who provide 16 host sites for overnight shelter and volunteers. And we have over 1,000 volunteers in the program engaged every week serving our families. We serve about 20 families in the shelter each year. We also administer 3 rental assistance programs through the county, and we serve another 20 families that way. We work with our families once they've graduated from our program, and we work with about 32 families that way, and we also have an information and referral service that we provide with another 250 families each year that we work with that. Our program is a great inspiration for volunteers to want to do more. And we have some very interesting programs within our program. For instance, one of our volunteers created the Need to Read program, which is a literacy program. And every Wednesday night, literacy volunteers come and work with our families and the children. During the same time, we now have a few doctors from Overlook Family Medicine who conduct a health education class with the parents at the same time. We're bringing in some workshops, sensitivity workshops. We're working with Imagine in Westfield, and they've created curriculum for us specifically on how to deal with the loss of your home. And that's going to be workshops for volunteers to understand about the trauma and grief associated with being homeless. And it's going to be a more intimate workshop for the families where they can deal with the loss of a home and their belongings. Thank you for having me. I actually left papers for everybody in front of you, so some takeaway facts so we wouldn't have to talk too long. And I thank you all for inviting me. I especially want to thank Tom and Brandon and Grace, who are very supportive. Thank you.
Next, we have Rupen Shaw. He is the program coordinator for the Roselle Park Senior Center. And the Roselle Park Senior Citizens Program receives $18,000 in CDBG funds for transportation.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you, freeholders. I'd like to thank Tom and Brandon on behalf of Mayor and Council, as well as from the seniors. And seniors have told me that give them the blessings because of you guys. They are going to the bus trips in the summertime and during the weekdays as well. Because of the bus, they are coming to the nutrition program every single day. We have about 35 to 40 seniors who comes in and enjoys the nutrition food every day. Just want to say thank you. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to ask Angel McGill to come forward. He's the president of McGill Real Estate Holdings. Since 2003, McGill's company has built 50 units of affordable housing, and they've received $2.3 million in home investment partnership funds to make that happen.
Good evening. I wear a lot of hats, but public speaking is not one of them. So I'm going to be as brief as I can. As Amy mentioned, my name is Angel McGill. I'm the president of McGill Real Estate Holdings, an affordable housing development company. I have been partnering with the County of Union for the last 13 years. And when I was called and asked to come up and say a couple of words, I said, you know, how can I fill the time without having to read off the script? Because usually I write them and then I can't read them when I'm up here. But basically, I remember something that was very intriguing for me back in 2003 when I first approached the community development program office. And I was reading through the paperwork, and basically I realized that the way the program is named is the Home Investment Partnership Program. You know, the word partnership stuck to my mind, and I was very, very intrigued by the word. I have worked in other counties, and another county calls it a partnership. And basically, I couldn't see at that moment why was it called a partnership. You know, I figured, well, you know, it's an investment, but how is it a partnership? It took me a few years, but obviously 2003 came in. I want to thank you, if I haven't before, for awarding, looking at that application favorably. But 2004 came in, we put in another application, and thank you again, it was looked over favorably again, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So it took a few years, but after a while, it started to sink in. Why was it called a partnership? For me, a partnership is a team, is two individuals or two organizations, two entities coming together for a common goal. And for the last 13 years, the County of Union, under the direction of the Freeholder and under the management of the Community Development Program, have truly, truly created a landscape where partnership with individuals like myself and others is truly a successful partnership. As Amy mentioned, within the last 13 years, we have created over 50 units of affordable housing. We have supported at least 15 full-time jobs. And in my eyes, that is the true meaning of a successful partnership. With that, again, I want to thank every one of the Freeholder, the county management. I want to thank the staff of the Community Development Program, and I hope I didn't bore you too much. Thank you very much.
Our final speaker is Melissa Cornejo. She is a medical case manager and a licensed social worker. She works for Neighborhood Health Services Corporation, and they receive $5,000 in CDBG funding for their domestic violence program.
Good evening, Freeholders. Again, my name is Melissa Cornejo, and I am representing the Neighborhood Health Services Corporation. I'm going to read, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. The Neighborhood Health Corporation is a major provider of ambulatory medical health care services in Union County, New Jersey. We are located in Plainfield, New Jersey. The Neighborhood Health Services provides a comprehensive array of prenatal care and support services for all residents in the community, including the uninsured and underinsured and most vulnerable patient population. The target population for this project is patients who are either referred from the other departments within the health center or self-referred for domestic violence concerns from the community. The especially vulnerable population groups are our pregnant adolescents and women experiencing prenatal and/or postpartum depression. It is entirely possible that many of our patients go through domestic violence and abuse alone, without realizing that there is help and resources available to them. The Neighborhood Health Services Corp is ideally positioned to serve as the gatekeeper for those patients who seek help in addressing the domestic violence situations. The Neighborhood Health Services Corp departments are trained for the lookout for obvious and suitable signs of abuse and offer potential victims of opportunity to discuss their specific situations with professional social workers. The staff is fully aware that confronting a domestic violence situation is scary and intimidating process for most. The staff approaches the issues with understanding, patience, kindness, and support. Once the social worker receives a referral for domestic violence assessment, she guides the patient through a complex system of domestic violence services, including shelters, family support, and advocacy, just to name a few. The CDBG grant has allowed the Neighborhood Health Center Corporation to continue to proactively address the issues of domestic violence among its diverse and multiply disadvantaged patient populations. With the grant, we have been able to promote awareness regarding the issues of domestic violence and substance abuse, especially among the minority populations, by displaying anti-violence and substance abuse messages and information throughout the main facility and satellites. We've also been able to educate patients regarding the availability of domestic violence services on site, as well as through partner community agencies in Plainfield, New Jersey. Also, we've been able to establish formal agreements and referral mechanisms between us and community agencies who provide services for domestic violence. We've also been able to offer and facilitate access on-site and or via referrals to services that deal with additional issues that negatively impact the patient's lives, including homelessness, unemployment, dysfunctional family settings, and poor coping skills. On behalf of the Neighborhood Health Services Corp and our patients, we thank you very much for the funding. Thank you.
Al, I don't know if you have anything that you'd like to say, but I would like to thank all of our presenters for coming out and sharing the hard work that they do, and our staff as well.
If I may, Chairman, thank you very much. Thank you to our staff for all the fine work they do, and for the nonprofits, our partners, as Mr. McGill states, and they truly are our partners, for all the great work you do and for taking the time to recognize it. It's very important that we recognize Community Development Block Grant Week every year. We're very fortunate in Union County. Our freeholders understand the importance of the program and advocate for additional funding and support all we do. And for the most part, our legislators on the national level in New Jersey do as well. But as someone who's worked throughout the country, in many states, that is not the case. This program is always under attack. So it's important that we recognize the importance of what these programs do, and to have you advocate and talk about what they do and the lives that you change is very, very important. So thank you for taking the time to do that. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, and let me just add, the organizations we saw tonight are an example, and just an example of all that we can do with the community development funds. They're not by far all of the organizations, obviously, but it also points out something that I mention often around the county, and that is how lucky Union County is to have so many great organizations within the county that we can partner with. County government can't do everything by itself, and it's only with great organizations like these and others that we have here in the county that we can get the services out to our citizens that they need. So thank you all once again for working with us. We appreciate it, and thank you for coming tonight to help us highlight this important program. Next, we have another presentation For those of you who may not know it, Union County is a member of the New Jersey Association of Counties, which is a statewide organization that works in Trenton and across the state on issues important to all of the 21 counties within the state. Freeholder Wright is our representative and does a wonderful job working with that organization on our behalf. Tonight we have the Executive Director, John Donadio, here, who is going to just give us a preview of what they're working on in the coming months. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and freeholders. I appreciate the time, and too, just want to take a second to recognize Freeholder Wright, who was a board member of NJAC, and appreciate all of her support and commitment to the organization. And I also want to recognize Angel Estrada, who was also a former NJAC board member and Freeholder of the Year in, I think, 2011, if my memory, or 12, right? If my memory serves me serves me correctly. So again, I appreciate all of your support and commitment to the organization as well. And I have to say that I grew up, and Al knows this, and so does Freeholder Wright, in Union County. I miss it a great deal, and I'm also a very proud graduate of Union County College. So I had to make sure that I got that on the record. One of the best things I ever did was going to that school. So I again appreciate the time here today, and I want to talk about our legislative goals and objectives for 2016 and 2017, all of which are premised on the fact that we are advocating on behalf of all 21 counties in a nonpartisan, bipartisan manner with the intent of allowing county governments to operate more effectively and efficiently, saving valuable taxpayer dollars and enhancing the level of service provided. That is our core mission. And with that, there's 4 initiatives that I want to talk to you about today, one of which is something that I believe that we're going to be able to get done by the end of the year. And the 3 are heavier issues that we are asking all of our counties to help with some grassroots advocacy with your legislative delegations. The first initiative that we are working on, and I'm pleased to report that we have legislation introduced in both houses, is a bill that will allow county governments to pay their bills electronically. Most people wouldn't believe that in this day and age, counties, municipalities, and school districts must pay their bills by writing a paper check. So this legislation that we have introduced, and we're hoping that it gets signed into law by the end of the year, will allow counties to pay their bills through electronic means. We believe that will streamline the bill paying process, and again, saving valuable taxpayer dollars. So we'll make sure to keep the board posted on our progress with advocating for that piece of legislation. The next 3 initiatives are pretty heavy issues that we're again asking for support from freeholder boards across the state to reach out to their legislative delegations. And the first has to do with the pension systems. I know that everyone reads in the press that the state pension system is broke, it's insolvent, it's funded at 50%, and that's true. It's not true for the local pension systems that are funded entirely through property taxpayer dollars, and of which counties and municipalities have been good stewards of those property taxpayer dollars and met their obligations as employers over the past decade, or if not longer. What we are asking all 21 counties to do is to adopt a resolution that would urge the state to not have the local pension systems subsidize the state pension systems in the long term, because we believe that is an inequitable practice on their behalf, because again, we have been good stewards of the local pension systems, and we are concerned that that's the direction it looks like it's going to head, if not in the next year, but within the next 2 or 3 years. Our second heavy initiative deals with transportation, and we have long been advocates for enhancing local aid allocations under the Transportation Trust Fund. County governments receive right now a little over $100 million statewide, which represents about 6.5% of the state's overall $1.6 million transportation capital program, which we believe is an incredibly inequitable distribution or allocation of funds, as county roads, particularly county bridges, and counties across the state maintain virtually every bridge in the state of New Jersey. County roads and bridges carry an estimated 35% of the state's overall traffic, yet we receive only, I said, 6.5% of the overall transportation capital capital program. So we are looking to double local aid allocations under the transportation capital program whenever the Transportation Trust Fund is renewed. And we do have support from the Senate President and both the Speaker of the General Assembly, who have come out and supported doubling those local aid allocations. And again, we're asking through a resolution, reaching out to your legislative delegations, that all 21 counties support that initiative as well. I can tell you, I think one of the most pressing issues that we are working on right now is with the implementation and administration of criminal justice reform. It is something that our organization supported in concept as good public policy, and also long-term, it should save property taxpayer dollars, as theoretically it should reduce your prison population and ultimately your operating expenses. However, what we're finding, though, is that there are some unanticipated, significant unanticipated staffing, facility, capital, operational expenses, where we're projecting it's going to cost counties close statewide $40 to $45 million to implement criminal justice reform. So we are looking to the legislature, we're looking to the governor for relief. We've had a bill that was introduced by Assemblyman Benji Wimberly from Passaic County that would modestly increase certain criminal and civil court fees and dedicate those increases to counties, again, for those staffing, capital, operational, social service programs that we are going to have to implement as a result of criminal justice reform, just to get us by in the first 2 or 3 years. I can tell you it's going to be a significant challenge, because the argument that we're getting, particularly from the Senate, is that they believe counties are going to save money in the long run. And again, I just don't know how they can quantify that, quite frankly, because some of the feedback that we're getting from the counties is that a county has to hire 10 new sheriff officers, 10 new assistant prosecutors. So these are ongoing expenses that they're not going away in 2 or 3 years down the road, whether your prison population is reduced or not. So we need some relief from the state. This was the direction I thought that we got from the legislature, from the front office, in the meetings that we've had over the past several weeks. And again, we're hoping that all 21 counties will adopt that resolution. Reach out to your legislative delegation, because we're going to need a strong grassroots campaign to get this to the finish line. So before I talk about just 2 other things I want to mention, does anyone have any questions about anything that I spoke about? All right, that was good. Two quick things, and I promise I'll be done. I do want to mention that this year we have an NJAC Foundation, and this year we're giving away $40,000, of which we received from the generosity of companies like Investors Bank, PSE&G, and New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance, to county vocational technical school graduates who are continuing their education right here in New Jersey. We give 100% of the monies away. During my tenure in the past 5 years, we've given away over $175,000 to 250 county vocational technical school graduates. So it's something that we're very proud of it, and keep an eye out for those scholarships, which should be coming to you very, very shortly. And the last thing I do want to mention is that from May 18th through May 20th, we are hosting our 66th annual celebration of county government, and I think we put on a terrific event. We have close to 30 professional development workshops, all approved for some type of continuing education credit. Terrific opportunity to network with freeholders and county officials from across the state. But the highlight, I think, of our conference, I think there's going to be 2 this year, is our 5th annual County Vocational Technical School Cook-Off Challenge, which is just phenomenal. And I know that Union County, I think it's their first year participating in the program. And I don't care what they make, I'm voting for them, because this is where I'm from. It's not true. So I encourage you, it is amazing, and I know you guys know this. The first year we did this cook-off challenge, and Angel, I think you were freeholder that year. I was worried they were going to make Doritos and salsa, and just the dishes they came up with were just phenomenal, and just incredibly impressed with their talents. We're also holding this year because we want, in addition to the VOTEC students that we want to showcase, we want to showcase our county college students as well. We are hosting a first ever county college a cappella sing-off competition on Thursday night. So we're pretty excited about that as well. And again, in addition to all of the professional development that we have at the conference, we're trying to, again, showcase our students and make it a fun, exciting event for the day and a half that we're there. So I again, thank you for your time and commitment to the organizations. And again, I'd be happy to answer any questions if I can.
Freeholders, questions or comments? I guess you covered it. Thank you, John.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I just want to take time to thank you for being here and present these important issues for this board for consideration. I'm sure we'll act on them, but it's nice to have you come to see us. I know we've had great representation from Chester Holmes over the years to Freeholder Estrada, Freeholder Wright, and you know, we have a strong commitment to NJAC as an organization, and your leadership's appreciated, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, first we have approval of communications. May I please have a motion to approve communication?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made by Freeholder Mirabella, seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. Clerk of the Board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Estrada?
Yes.
Freeholder Hudak?
Aye.
Freeholder Jallo?
Aye.
Freeholder Kowalski?
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella?
Aye.
Freeholder Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Granados?
Aye.
Chairman Bergen?
Yes.
Chairman, you have 8 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. Next, we have 5 sets of meeting minutes. February 4th agenda meeting, February 4th special meeting, February 11 regular meeting, February 18 agenda meeting, and February 18 regular meeting. May I please have a motion to waive reading and accept the minutes of those 5 dates?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Freeholder Mirabella, seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. Clerk of the Board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Estrada?
Yes.
Freeholder Hudak?
Aye.
Freeholder Jallo?
Aye.
Freeholder Kowalski?
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella?
Aye.
Freeholder Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Granados?
Abstaining from February 18th. Aye to the rest.
And Chairman Bergen?
Yes.
Chairman, you have 8 votes in the affirmative, with the exception of the Thursday, February 18th agenda and regular meetings, where you have 7 votes in the affirmative with 1 abstention.
Thank you. We now have an ordinance that's listed for adoption. Clerk of the Board, please read the ordinance by title.
Ordinance number 773-2016, an ordinance fixing the salaries of 2 department heads, administrative services, and economic development.
Thank you. Being this is a final hearing, I will now open the floor for comment by the public for purposes of commenting on this ordinance only. Ordinance 773-2016. Please state your name and town of residence for the record, and please adhere to the 5-minute time limit. Is there anyone who wishes to comment on this ordinance only?
Good evening, Chair Bergen, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson Garwood. Just some fact-finding questions. Who are the 2 people? How much are their salaries being fixed? Unless this is a range, but I guess, so what is the range? When actually does this take effect? Is it retroactive? I guess the question is, well, why only 2? Maybe they're new to the county. And I'm just wondering why this wasn't actually put on the position controls resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. B.B. Taylor, Department, can you just briefly lay out what this ordinance does?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Through you, the salary ordinance essentially establishes the salary for the Department Head of Administrative Services and the Department Head for Economic Development. The salary takes effect upon adoption of the ordinance after the 10-day publication or 20-day publication period ends. The ordinance effectively was introduced as a result of these 2 new department heads coming into play in 2016. By statute, department head salaries have to be fixed by ordinance. It cannot be done by a position control via a normal resolution.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to comment on this ordinance only? Seeing no one else, I will close the public portion and I would ask for Freeholder Mirabella to please move ordinance 773-2016.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'll move ordinance 773, 2006 for final reading and authorize the clerk of the board to advertise the same in accordance with the law.
May I please have a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Freeholder Mirabella, seconded by Freeholder Estrada. Clerk of the board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Estrada?
Yes.
Freeholder Hudak?
Aye.
Freeholder Jallo?
Aye.
Freeholder Kowalski?
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella?
Aye.
Freeholder Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Granados?
Aye.
Chairman Bergen?
Yes.
Chairman, you have 8 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. We now come to the portion of the meeting that is open to the public for comment on pending resolutions only. Once again, kindly state your name and town of residence for the record, and please advise which resolution you're referring to, and please remember the 5-minute time limit. So anyone who wishes to make any public comments concerning pending resolutions only.
Good evening, Chair Bergen, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson, Garwood. You left out who and how much on that last ordinance. I mean, that was important. But anyway, moving forward, hopefully somebody will answer. Number 249, $30,000 for Twin Star Couplings, UASI. I would assume that's going to be spread around whatever towns needed it. Somebody just confirmed that. Number 250 on page 2 also, right below it, all hazards mitigation plan. How does that come about, and is this done in-house or is a contractor hired? If there's a contract hired, how much, did they get paid, and who was the contractor? Number 252, that's the CDBG. We'll talk about that later on in the other speaking portion. Number 253 on page 3. And this is, I know you guys usually ask the question, I wasn't here last meeting, but where are these flags made? I would assume the United States, because you're normally diligent at that. Number 257, Cummings Construction Management. They appeared out of nowhere. I never heard of them. They're now in Cranford at one of the new buildings, but I guess it's good you're getting away from all those people that donate to you and your cronies and giving contracts out to other people, so I appreciate that. Of course, we'll be watching, I guess. Number 261 on page 4, Millennium Strategies getting paid $27,000 last year, and maybe somebody asked this question last meeting, but anyway, could you quantify the success of what they did? Number 264, Special Counsel for the Solid Waste Management District. Who is the Special Counsel? 265, 266, Bausch Zucker and Palumbo Renaud. I always talk about the donations that they give, and that's why they show up and beat dead horse. Number 267, Qualified Litigation Defense Counsel, and the question is who is that? 268 and 269, this is always interesting. The collective bargaining, and this time it's with the prosecutors, detectives, and the superior officers. I'm just wondering how many people are involved, and could somebody please explain what is their health benefits that they're getting? And I don't want to hear, oh, it's like everybody else. It's, okay, so it is. Let's hear what it is. And I'm just wondering if JIF figures into that one. Number 2, I'll tell you what, that's it. It's a short one, so how about that? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Let's see, 249 and 250, Director Moran.
Through you, Chairman. 249 has to do with hose couplings for the Neptune fire suppression system. Both us and Morris County have that system, and these are couplings that will go to both us and Morris County to enhance their capabilities. The countywide all hazardous mitigation plan. Stems out of the Disaster Mitigation Grant Act of 2000, which was signed into law by the President, required municipalities, counties, and states that applied for federal FEMA aid in disasters to have a mitigation plan in order to qualify for that aid. 20 municipalities in Union County participated in this. Elizabeth has her own mitigation plan that qualifies for that, and it was paid from a mitigation grant that we got from the state, and Princeton Hydro was the contractor.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
253, Director Guzzo. Is he here? The question was where the flags are made?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, the flags are made in the United States.
Thank you, County Manager. That wasn't really a question. 261. Acting Director Wagner, can you just give some idea of the services Millennium Strategies provided for us?
Absolutely. They wrote 8 grants for us this past year, totaling $1.1 million. We received 2, and we're still awaiting a decision on 4, and 2 we did not receive.
Thank you. Concerning 2016-264, County Council, who, is there a particular person being appointed there?
This is basically a confirmation of appointment made by the Union County Utilities Authority, which is our designated implementing agency, as a result of which it's required by DEP that you, the board, confirm those appointments. The firms are Dakotas, Fitzpatrick and Cole, Powar, Gigallon, and Rudy, and the law firm of Weber Dowd. And their services basically are to provide representation to the authority for matters relative to solid waste enforcement.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also on 267?
267, we did put out another request for qualifications, received a response, and found qualified the firm of Genova Burns.
Very good. 268 and 269, I think the question on 268 was how many members there are in that union? Acting Department Head Mike Yeska.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. None of my backup has the actual number of employees. I think that's due to the fact because these negotiations went over about 13, 14 months, so I believe they didn't put a specific number into any of the backup or the agreements. There was another question about the health plans covered. It is the same health plans that we offer to the rest of the county, and it is part of JIF. It does go through self-insurance.
Okay.
I believe that was all of it.
Very good. Thank you. Any other members of the public who have questions or comments concerning pending resolutions only? Seeing none, then I will close the public comment portion and ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Hudak, seconded by Freeholder Wright. Clerk of the Board, please call the roll.
Freeholder Estrada?
Yes, with a no on 261.
Freeholder Hudak?
Aye to all.
Freeholder Jallo?
Aye.
Freeholder Kowalski?
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella?
Aye.
Freeholder Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Granados?
Aye at all with the exception of 248. Abstaining.
Abstain on 248. And Chairman Bergen?
Thank you. I abstain on Resolution 2016-252, and yes on the remaining resolutions.
Chairman, you have 8 votes in the affirmative for all resolutions, with the exception of resolution number 2016-248, 7 votes in the affirmative with 1 abstention. Resolution 2016-252, 7 votes in the affirmative with 1 abstention. And resolution 2016-261, with 7 votes in the affirmative and 1 in the negative.
Thank you. We now move to the portion of the meeting open to the public for purposes of commenting on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the county. As always, please give your name and town of residence and mind the 5-minute time limit. Is there anyone from the public wishing to comment at this time? Please step up.
Salam Ismail. I'm Director of the National United Youth Council and also serve as the co-chair of the New Jersey Study Commission on Violence. I'm here to, first of all, you all should have a copy of this report, the State Commission report, which I serve. And those of you who don't know, it's a 9-member commission that was first introduced by Raymond Lesniak and signed into law by the governor, which commissioned 9 members to study violence in the state of New Jersey. This report, which you also have a copy of, urges or recommend a number of things. Our commission, which that report was given in October, is on a delay because of a lot of political stuff is going on, so the legislature has not revisited those recommendations. However, I'm taking upon myself to where it can apply to certain areas to try to introduce. You're the first of 21 counties I will be visiting to hopefully to adopt one portion of it. On page 43 of that commission report, which again you guys have a copy, it asks each county should establish a division on violence, prevention, and intervention that brings together all county and local resources to share experiences and strategies for addressing violence, prevention, and reduction. And then it gives you some points on that. And I asked that, our commission asked that because we felt, and I'll study that, one of the issues of violence is that there's not enough collectivity amongst groups to deal with it. As you probably heard, in my home city, a 26-year-old young girl was beaten, gagged, and strangled to death by her boyfriend. This is a systemic problem with domestic violence. And so this is an issue, one issue, along with gang violence, street violence, and such, that we sometimes don't put on our #1 agenda. So today I'm officially asking my home county to be the first to establish a division on violence prevention and intervention. I think that is so important in today's time where violence had devastating not only the victim and the victim family, but also impact entire neighborhoods. Our city, my city, Elizabeth, is very fortunate. That murder that occurred on Easter Sunday was the first murder since August of last year, which that haven't happened in that span since 2003. And how that happened, because we do have a collective among our city. We do have a good cooperation with our police department and some of the various nonprofit organizations. But we believe a county division established in a firm can bring all these resources so it can impact cities across this county. We hope that you move forward on this, to maybe establish a special committee to research this and see how this can be done. I'm sure it won't be not, and we studied this is not something that will cost taxpayers additional dollars. It's a matter of just adjusting the government operation to establish such a division. And I hope that this county be the first. You've been the first in many other times dealing with violence. I hope you be the first on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I got some of my students, and they're going to say something right behind me.
Thank you for your comments. We did receive your email earlier this week, and I appreciate you coming in today to reiterate, and we will look into it. Thank you very much.
How you doing? I'm just here a little bit to reiterate what Mr. Salam was saying. I'm coming more
Could
from
you-
a...
I'm sorry, could you
I'm about to tell you, I'm sorry. My name is Naraya Sims. I hold a nonprofit organization called Michelle's Daughter Incorporated. It's for victims that are battered and abused. One is prevention, two is coming back after you've been through either abuse or battering or basically survivors. So I'm working with Mr. Salam to try to help bring forth or bring into fruition the prevention team. So that's only why I'm here tonight.
Thank you.
I'm also here with them as well, and I think it's very important.
I'm sorry, for your name and...
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Samaria DeWalt. I'm from Union County, and I came here with them on behalf of them of the domestic violence and the things that are going on in the community. And I think it would be a very great idea to do that. I'm very proactive in the community. I do a lot of motivational speeches. And I think what we will do would be a great thing for the community to try to get women in the community together, because I do believe that the women play a big part in the community on domestic violence and everything like that. And if we could just get like a group together for the women and somewhere where they could come, we could stop a lot of things more than domestic violence with drugs and everything like that. Because 9 out of 10 is the women that has the apartment. And sometimes the men that come in could be abusive. So we just want to encourage the women to try to get like on the right path, speak to them if they don't have no one to talk to, because we're coming from the same community as they are. So I think that's very important for someone to from the community as ourselves with a positive impact that lived the lifestyle, been through things in life, to reach out and help a hand to the other women in the community. We could just get that place to help other women. I think it would stop a lot, and I think it will help women to take a better look at people who they let into their apartments, people who they live with them and things like that. So with so many other things that go on with drugs and violence, and it's the women who has the apartment that let these people in. So I think if our voice will be heard, we will be that team that could talk to the young women in the community on how important their life is and everything like that. So that's all that I have to say, and I just pray, everybody just look into it, because us women in the community, we really need it. That's all.
Thank you for your comments. I do want to say that domestic violence is an issue that is very, very much in the forefront in this county, and in fact, next Thursday, we are having our annual domestic violence symposium, but thank you for your further comments. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to comment on any items?
Hi. Hello. My name is Mike Waddick. I'm from Summit, New Jersey, and I just had one question for the board tonight. Has there been any recent discussion or study done at the county level in regards to potentially seeing the pros or cons of redistricting the county to broaden the freeholder base where we're represented? And what I mean by that is, in the 17 years that I've lived in Summit and in 18 years in Union County, the western half of the county, or the western third of the county, seems to be perpetually underrepresented here on the board level. So I was just curious if there had been any studies, discussions here at the board level in terms of doing what some other counties have done, like Essex County, and breaking the county up into actual districts where towns can be more represented. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to comment?
Yeah, John Burry of Kenilworth. You could always have some Democrat move into Summit, and some controlled Democrat. I don't think redistricting would do anything, but that's me. Basically, I wanted to respond to that county guy who came in, but he's not here. Maybe he'll hear about this. The pension, it's interesting to know that they're thinking in those terms, that the plan is dying and they're going to move money over. But if nothing's done, they will do that, and there's nothing that can be done to stop it. What he said that was absolutely bizarre and ridiculous is that the local plans are funded
well or close to funded. And it's difficult for a lot of people to understand, but basically it comes down to the actuaries are lying. For example, Detroit was 96% funded. They had two plants, 96, 99% funded one day, and the next day they brought in a bunch of other actuaries. They said they weren't, and they weren't, and they cut benefits 10, 20%. Safety workers got less. But basically, especially in New Jersey, where they're making $1 million, $2 million in fees, and they very easy work, they're just given the numbers they want. Local plans, probably 50% funded. Other plans, maybe 20, 25%. According to GASB rules, the judges will run out of money in 2021. Now, it's absolutely ridiculous to believe that the judges won't be getting paid. They're the first ones. Their plans are going under. So money will be moved over. Right now, they say there's $70 billion in there. $25 billion of that is alternative investments, which is probably garbage. 20 to 30 billion of that is the employees' own contributions, which they're going to have to get back. And $10 billion a year, and we'll know more, the next set of valuation reports should be coming out any day now. $10 billion is being paid out every year. And as far as coming in, maybe $1.5 billion for the employees, another couple billion for the localities, and the state, whatever they feel like doing. They're not really committed to $2 billion. They say $2 billion, it's probably not going to be there. But anybody with any sense of math can see this is just dropping. And 2 years, 3 years, whatever, it's going to go pay as you go, a lot of funds. And it's great that the counties are looking at this, but their information is absolutely bizarre. They ought to get, if you're going to do any resolutions, if you're going to look at the plan itself and look at Pritchard, Central Falls, Detroit, San Bernardino, look at all those places that their pensions are gone. New Jersey is much, much worse than Detroit ever was. And that's coming very soon. So work with the county people, the NJ county people, but work intelligently with them, with good information, because basically they're just spinning their wheels with what they're trying here.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Good evening, Chair Bergen, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson, Garwood. Third time I'll ask. Had to do with Ordinance 773. The two people, who are they and how much are they making? I mean, it's not that hard to answer that. I mean, I don't know why you want to ignore it. To tell you the truth, I don't really see any subterfuge on that. So, I mean, you can easily answer it. Another one, and Mike, yes, I spoke highly of. I don't know, now I'm scratching my head. But anyway, number 268 to 269, I said, what are the health benefits for these groups of people? And I said, I don't want to hear it's the same as everyone else. And he gets up here and he says, oh, it's the same health benefits as everybody else. So, I mean, let's hear exactly what they are. The public, I want to know. The public wants to know. Well, there's nothing to hide. I mean, I probably could find out if I want to, whatever. There's a Trenton website. Let's hear it. The public would like to know. So, I mean, you shouldn't be afraid to answer that stuff. The third issue I really like to talk about is CDBG, which, I appreciate it. It is a great program from 1974. You're doling out the monies accordingly, and here there was a presentation, and I listened to people, and it's very, very satisfactory of what this money is being done with. The low and middle income residents, the seniors, and the homeless, and the disabled, yes, they do need to be taken care of. Garwood actually uses CDBG money for a handyman program for the seniors, which is good because they're always calling me to fix the toilet. But anyway, but let's just look at possibly two failings which the county should enhance the CDBG money. And one is, in the very beginning, Amy Wagner came up, and she must have mentioned like 12 names of people in the group. And this is to initiate or appropriate monies, study the grants. 12 people. I would assume it's almost like one person per per town that's asking for CDBG money. That's a VIG that shouldn't be. I mean, if anything, maybe 5 people involved, even if they're only getting, these 12 people have other jobs and are only getting like an extra 10 grand or something from the CDBG money, but that's extra money that should be going to the homeless, should be going to the seniors, should be going to the disabled. Just another issue, and I brought this up at the Garwood Council about the CDBG money, and quantifying replacing these handicap ramps are about $4,000. Maybe Director Graziano could verify that number, but roughly it's about $4,000. And the strange thing is, and I brought this up, you guys did, I think it was Martine Avenue, had handicap ramps up and down there, and also in the federal handicap ramp slopes were a little different than New Jersey slopes. So we tore up all these handicap ramps. And I'm driving around the county, and I continually see these handicap ramps that were there are being torn up, and replaced with handicap ramps. Now, that's $4,000 to put it the first time, another $4,000 to put it the second time. That's $8,000. And if it's an intersection of 4 corners, that's $32,000. I think you should reach out to your legislators, the congressmen, Lance, Albio Sires, and just tell them, we want to give the money to the seniors, to the disabled, to the homeless. We don't want to sit here and tear up ramps just because the slope is a little different between the federal government regulations and the state regulations. That should be easy enough. It really should be easy enough. It is specifically a waste of money, and it should be going to a good cause that the CDBG was created back in '74. And please, I mean, do something about that. I know you guys are doing more handicap ramps. Towns are doing handicap ramps. Every time I see it, I just look at a little bag of money, $4,000 flying out the window, and it's sad, So please, reach out to your congressmen and legislative district people and try to do something. Just say we'll hold off on it. It's not right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. On the ordinance, County Council, can you just provide that information?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. The ordinance specifically addresses the position of the Director of the Department of Administrative Services with a salary of $125,334.87. The new director of that department is Mr. Michael Yuska, and the other position is the Director of the Department of Economic Development with a salary of $120,341.77. And the new director of that department is Ms. Amy Wagner.
Thank you, County Council.
You're welcome.
Are there any other members of the public who wish to comment this evening? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the meeting. I just do, before we move on to freeholder comments, I do want to comment quickly on 2 of the items raised. Thank you, Councilman from Summit, for coming in. I'm sorry, from Summit, but I would note that Frank Lair from Summit was up here on this board some 20 or so years ago. Frank's still around, and I for one do not believe that districts is worthwhile, and there, as far as I know, there's no movement in that direction at this time. I must speak to Mr. Burry's statements concerning the pensions, and vehemently disagree with your facts. Having been a municipal attorney for 17 years and having sat up here for now almost 3.5 years, the pension system in New Jersey is in different pieces, and you mentioned the judges. That's one piece. The municipalities and the counties are separate and apart from any of the state pension funds. And when Mr. Donadio spoke about local pensions being funded properly, he is in fact 100% correct. Those are the facts. Counties and municipalities have made their contributions to their respective pension funds on a regular basis, on a yearly basis, and have kept up to date. It is the state employees who have not had the contributions by the state government made on a regular basis. They are separate systems. The fact that the state system may be in danger of failing does not mean and won't affect the local pensions of county and local government employees whose governments have in fact put the money in that they're supposed to. So Mr. Donadio's statements of fact were absolutely correct, and there has been a suggestion of merging them, and I absolutely agree with him that for local and county governments it would be a disaster to move the obligation that the state has not fulfilled onto the backs of our citizens and our employees. So I just wanted to clarify the factual underpinnings there. That being said, we will move to comments by freeholders. Freeholder Hudak.
Thank you, Chairman. And I also want to respond to the comments involving the Community Development Block Grant. Only a number of municipalities in Union County are large enough to qualify for their own awards directly through the grant. I believe only 2, and that's Union and Elizabeth are only 2. So when we talk about the county staff, there is a tremendous amount of logistics involved in making sure those grants are appropriately disseminated down to the municipalities. They work with the municipalities and the nonprofits. It's a tremendous amount of work. So I happen to think they're doing a very good job and a very important job in making sure that those grant obligations are fulfilled. Though I would agree with the speaker in the sense that there is not enough funding coming through, and I would say that that is the result of a dereliction of duty on behalf of the United States Congress to fund these programs properly. And quite frankly, New Jersey is a donor state. We do not get back what we give to the federal government in terms of taxation, and it comes, many of those dollars end up in this other parts of the country. Many have legislators who complain about the size of the federal government but don't necessarily mind taking New Jersey's money. And it doesn't come back, and we see, as we hear from some of those nonprofits tonight, what the results of those decreasing dollars are. So we try to remedy it here on the county level. We do it through open space grants. We do it through the new infrastructure grant program, which I'm happy to see is going to be in the budget again this year. But that is certainly a problem, and also it's something to highlight as part of Community Development Block Grant Week, and as in a presidential year. I think Union County residents should consider where their priorities lie when looking at candidates, and quite frankly, it should lie with making sure that our infrastructure is taken care of, and that, quite frankly, has not been the case. I do want to transition just a couple of announcements. It may not feel like it completely, but summer is coming. And I know the polar vortex is coming back, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about Union County pools and our need for lifeguards. So Union County residents age 16 or older can contact the Department of Parks and Recreation for information on becoming a certified lifeguard this summer in one of 2 county swimming pools in Rahway and Linden. Lifeguarding provides a unique opportunity to add a position to your resume, college applications to demonstrate a high degree of reliability and responsibility. Applicants must begin the certification process at age 15, or can begin, not must, can begin the certification process at age 15, but they must be 16 years of age or older to complete that training. 2016 season begins on June 25th and ends on September 5th. And so if you're interested or know young people in your community who are interested about this program, to find out about the certification and physical requirements, email the Department of Parks and Recreation at warnaco@ucnj.org or call 908-298-7849, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 4 p.m. And I also wanted to announce that my son Jack had his 9-month appointment last month, and he weighed in at 24 pounds, 10 ounces, and 32 inches, and he'll be a year old in January. And that is important. It actually has to do with county business, believe it or not. Plus, I just wanted to say it, because I have to have his car seat adjusted, and that is a good way to remind people that we have certified technicians who can assist you with getting familiar with a car seat or adjusting your car seat because you have a son that just eats you out of house and home and grows rapidly, and to make adjustment as they get older. As you may or may not know, New Jersey's car seat law changed last year, so they will be, it feels like they will be in the car seats till they're about 17 years old and facing backward for 5 years. And I'm kidding. I think it's 2 years they have to face backwards, and they will be in the seat, I think, till 80 pounds or 8 years old. It's a while. So you, if you need assistance in putting a seat in or making sure your seat is secure, because I know at times I don't always feel, I grab it, it doesn't feel right, the techs can make sure that the seat is in properly. You can go to the Child Safety Seat Inspection Program at the Garwood Rescue Squad at 401 2nd Avenue in Garwood. We have certified technicians who will check the car seat. You do not need an appointment. They're open every Wednesday and Thursday morning from 7:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. And weather permitting, we will also be providing free inspections at Plainfield High School on Saturday, June 4th. And you can look for our public safety booth at street fairs in Plainfield, Rahway, and Garwood this spring, and to find out more about car and seat and bicycle safety as well. Please feel free to call our Traffic Safety Program Coordinator, and that phone number is 908-789-6830. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Jallo.
No comments, Chairman.
Thank you. Freeholder Wright.
Yes, Arbor Day is coming up on Friday, April the 29th, and as always, the Freeholder Board and the Union County Shade Tree Advisory Board are providing free trees for schools to plant. This year's free tree is the flowering redbud. We are also providing free sessions in tree planting and care for students, teachers, and parent volunteers in partnership with Rutgers Cooperative Extension 4-H Master Tree Stewards volunteers. The Freeholder Board recognizes the value of our urban and suburban trees, which provide many environmental and civic benefits, and we're very proud of the schools that join with us in this effort every year. The trees are available on a first-come, first-served basis while supplies last. Schools can request one by contacting Barbara Knapp at Union County, 908-789-3653, or the Knapp at ucnj.org. This Friday, April the 1st, or Monday, April the 4th.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Kowalski.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to thank all of the people who came to address us tonight, and particularly the people representing the organizations who are our partners in community development block grants. And I know County Manager Fiella has represented us well in the Community Development Block Grant Association, and all of our staff. I agree with Freeholder Hudak. They're doing an excellent job, and it's a huge task to deal with the needs of our residents here in New Jersey. For instance, in December of 2007, there were less than 11,000 people, households in Union County that received our SNAP food assistance benefits. By 2015, that SNAP caseload more than doubled to over 25,000. And many of those are people who have jobs, but they just haven't been making enough money to be able to feed themselves. The high cost of living in New Jersey is feeding a gap that really county dollars alone cannot fill. The community development block grants help, and we also have asked the state to pitch in. Last week I addressed the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee to testify about the impact of some of the budget cuts coming down from the state on our critical county services. We pitch in to cover when we get cuts in paratransit services and help for the disabled. We're not going to turn our backs on people in need here in Union County, and we have been asking the state to pay their share, and we're going to keep doing that. And I know it's an uphill task, but we'll keep at it. Something very positive that happened recently was the Teen Arts Festival over at Union County College in Cranford. Ellen Dotto from the college is here, and of course we thank the college for hosting us every year. I also want to thank all of the students and teachers and staff and volunteers who participated. There's so much energy and talent shown at the Teen Arts Festival. You may not have gotten to the 2 days that it was in Cranford, but in May we're going to have a showcase of the highlights of the Teen Arts Festival. That's May 11th at the Union County Performing Arts Center. So I'll mention that again as we get closer to the date. But I just want to congratulate everyone involved, especially Kathy Kakalektress and the Cultural and Heritage Affairs staff, and thank Freeholders Wright and Jallo for joining me there. I know you enjoyed it too. So good job, everyone. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Estrada.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to really commend the Director Wagner and also her staff in the Department of Community Development, well, actually the Economic Development, but it actually handles the Community Development block grants. And understanding that this is a federal program whereby the necessity in terms of record keeping and the requirements that it has is tremendous. Today we only saw a little tip of the iceberg of the things that had happened because of it, and the chair made a point of that. But I was listening to Angel McGill, who I met back many, many years ago, and I remember when he first started applying for CDBG grants for housing. And interesting, I know that somebody mentioned that he had done 50 apartments, and the reality is that these 50 units have leveraged hundreds of other units, because I know we have been in the ribbon cuttings and in many different activities over the years that, if anything I recall about McGill is the fact is that whenever there was a commitment to build something, it got done, and it got done on time. So I have that I always keep that in perspective. I was very happy to see him here today, and like him, many other individuals who have, in their own right, have done things to help the community. As my colleague BJ mentioned earlier, in terms of the overall needs of the community, they're tremendous, and often they go unanswered for their needs, and that's something that we need to ensure that we continually help and assist individuals who are in need, especially the children. And I was reading some of the information on the program that was here this evening, who does a marvelous job in terms of not only reaching out to families, but also children and children's issues that are so critical in our county. Let me just, for Bruce Patterson, I just want to clear up that the issue about the standards changing from the state to national will bring about tremendous amount of changes that you may not necessarily like, but since the federal government is willing to pay for the upgrades, you have to meet their standards. Similar to that, most recently, the signage at intersections have changed. And I don't know if any of them in Garwood, but any new signage going up will go with the new standards, which are larger letter and they have more reflective makeup so that it's safer for drivers, especially at nighttime. So Bruce, stand by. There will be signs change as well. They're aluminum and like the old ones, and you'll be very upset when you see those signs coming down. Try to work for them now. In terms of the handicap ramps, they're critical. Apparently the old ones that New Jersey Standard used was not necessarily pitched correctly. We can't help that. That's unfortunate because apparently it, when it was established, it was not the right pitch to do them. Hopefully that in numerous years, because the federal government's putting out a lot of money to be able to upgrade most of those. So listen, if it needs to be upgraded, we'll be more than glad to take the money. You can see them fly away. In terms of the gentleman's comment from Summit about the makeup of boards, there are 3 types of board in the state of New Jersey. Unfortunately, I can only tell you that there has been participation from people from Summit. I recall a few years ago I ran for Freeholder, and Ellen Dixon ran against me. Unfortunately, she wasn't successful. But I think it's a matter of the reality is that over the years, the makeup of the board has assisted in soliciting tremendous amount of participation in terms of the voting public, and therefore the accessibility in terms of people getting elected in certain parts of the county has not been there. Now, we've had people in this board from Westfield, we have had people from, Al's from the west, the Scotch Plains, so we have people who participate from that side of the county versus this side of the county. I think I want to look at it overall as a family that makes up Union County, because I know that I get calls from people in Plainfield, I get people in Summit, all over the county, and we respond to anyone as long as they're a Union County resident. That's with the service that they get, and hopefully you don't feel that you're not being equally represented here. Again, it's I know there's opinions, but hopefully that's not the case. Has there been conversations about it? No, honestly not. I think many years ago we've had a few individuals who came up and we had some conversations about it. Honestly, it's every election cycle comes in. I think everybody has the right to run. Whether some people may feel that they may not want to make the investment because they may not be successful, I can understand. But I truly believe that when it comes to representation, this board, regardless of the makeup of the board, is out there willing to help and participate financially at the same time. And projects, for example, as a matter of fact, just the other day, I was driving down Berkeley Heights, and I went down in many roads, and I see, listen, these roads are nicer than the roads that I got to travel, the county roads that I travel every day. So I will be reaching out to Joe, make sure that this side of the county gets as much exposure when it comes to road. But Mountain Avenue, Plainfield Road, all those roads are brand new, really nice. Doing a great job out there, Joe. Let's do the same thing, McGee Avenue and some other, some Galloping Hill Road who needs some work, okay? But again, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Freeholder Mirabella.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Long are the days when Freeholder Strada banked his time.
I wasn't getting proper remuneration for it.
No, you are. You're cashing in regularly. That's all good. One of the most popular county programs is our recycling events, and mobile shredding program is happening this weekend, April 2nd, in Scotch Plains at the Vocational Technical School campus, located at 776 Raritan Road in Scotch Plains. Next Cut Shredding of Elizabeth will be there shredding personal documents from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, rain or shine. The event will end before 1 o'clock if the shredding truck reaches this capacity, so please note that. The county shredding services helps residents fight identity theft by providing a convenient way to shred your confidential documents. It promotes our county recycling efforts and ties in very well with the chairman's green initiatives in 2016. All Union County residents are eligible for this paper shredding service. And in an effort to accommodate everyone, there will be a limit of 4 10-pound bags or boxes per person. And with that, Mr. Chairman, that will conclude my comments.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Granados.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to congratulate you on receiving the award from Community Access Unlimited on April 5th. Your dedication to community-oriented initiatives has definitely been seen and recognized by not only organizations, but residents also. So I just want to commend you on all your hard work within our communities. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. County Council, anything?
No comments, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Mr. County Manager.
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Coincidentally, Vice Chairman, I have the honor of congratulating you on an honor that you're receiving, in addition to one also from Community Access. But you are receiving the 3rd Annual Young Professionals Award by the Urban League of Union County this Saturday for outstanding work in government and civil service, and we congratulate you on that. Those of us on the Freeholder Board know the Vice Chairman to be energetic and a diligent representative for all the people of Union County. He's a strong advocate for the community, and we all congratulate you on this well-deserved award. I also want to mention briefly concerning one of my initiatives this year, Union County Means Green. The elementary school education component is in full swing. So far this year, more than 600 students in grades 1 through 5 have received an interactive recycling and conservation lesson called Talking Trash. The lesson helps students grasp important issues in a fun, positive way, and we are bringing it to any school that asks free of charge. If there are any schools out there who'd like to have Talking Trash brought to their school, please contact our educator, Patricia Lind, at plynn9021@gmail.com, and that will bring us to the end of our meeting tonight. Thank you all for attending. May I please have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you all.
All right. All right, good job.